What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of CM Radio, my weekly podcast that I release every week. As always, if you're watching on SoundCloud, first of all, appreciate that listen. Secondly, if you're like me and you don't like listening to your podcast and you want to watch it rather than listen to it, I upload it on Mondays on my YouTube channel, Mooney. You can find the link in the description of this video. Monday, 6 p.m. every single week. That's if you don't like listening to them, so be sure to check it out. I've also got a bunch of other videos that you guys will find helpful. But I'm joined again for the second week in a row with Draft Boy himself. Yeah. And today we're going to cover nutrition misconceptions. So this ranges from fad diets, low calorie diets, low carb diets, the misconception that fat makes you fat. What else have we got? How weight gain actually works, and the unsustainability of everything that we will discuss. So I'm going to let Carl start it off, because if you didn't listen to last week's podcast where he gave a brief description of where he came from to where he is now, he used to be like 19 or 20 stone. He used to be a fat fuck, and now he's skinny as shit. So he's went from fat to fit.
That's a fit.
So I have had an experience with a lot of these misconceptions, but not in the severity that he has had to deal with and he's been misled with. So I'm gonna let him take over and explain like sort of where his mindset was when he first started, and then we're gonna tackle a few of the topics and get some information out to you guys.
See, from my respect, from where I was from was more of a seafood diet. It was just a case of seafood, eat food. I didn't give a shit what it was. When the realization that this isn't good. I mean, my health was fucking severely suffering. Just literally climbing the stairs from fucking, well, you know, I pretty much lived in the same house where you got. Steep set of stairs, I'd get to my bedroom, fucking inhaler was out. Basically every room in my house had an inhaler in it. My asthma was rife. Type of job I've done has always been manual handling anyway, so that was starting to suffer. So again, as you would have heard last time if you watched it, the wife took some fucking awful pictures of me at a car show, decided something had to be done about it. Didn't really do much research online, kind of just, it was all kind of hearsay from what you've heard from people before. The whole cutting carbs out. Remember, I basically cut every piece of, in my mind, which was shit food, fizzy drinks, Monsters. Okay, admittedly, Monster was a hell of a lot of sugar I was consuming because it was always like full fat ones. Chocolate bars, you know, everything, even to the point where I even thought red meat, as in like steak, which I fucking loved, was bad. Didn't eat steak for nearly a year. Pork until about a year ago. Didn't even realise that pork mince was fucking, you can get leaner pork mince than beef mince. I cut pork out. I basically lived on a diet of salad, chicken and fish for a year and a half, give or take, which was good because obviously, well, I say good, it was, from a novice or for a new perspective, the weight was fucking coming off drastically from 19.8 to 16 stone in less than 3 months.
Yeah, so even though the weight did come off, so essentially it did work, which is not the main issue here.
What I'm saying
how long would how long would you have been able to sustain that diet for if you carried on eating like that?
I managed to sustain it without, and honest to God, without a single cheat day, because I was so, I'm gonna hit the word desperate to lose the weight, because I'd realised where I'd got to. That I sustained it. I started at the end of September. Christmas was my first, if you will, cheat, which literally I took Christmas Day off purely just to have it as an enjoyable day, which I didn't, I mean, it feels like I have more self-control then than sometimes I do now. But 3 months there, then, I mean, I was 16 stone at Christmas, got down to around about 15 at February-ish, my birthday. 5 to 6 months I sustained it, and it was literally just salad and meat.
Do you reckon you could have gone your whole life doing that?
Oh, not a fucking chance. And at the moment I started eating normal food, I put a stone back on within... So I put a stone back on within less than a month. And it wasn't even I went into binging. It was literally I just reintroduced normal food, if you will.
Yeah. And I think that's a problem with that a lot of people have, like, especially, well, this podcast is mainly going to be around, like, trying to lose weight. or trying to be healthy, rather than just talking about food itself. But like, say if you do want to lose weight, this is why I have such issues with like Weight Watchers and Herbalife and Slim and World and shit like that. Because even though they do work, it's a I can't remember which one of them. Juice Plus, or it's a juice diet. So it is the sense that, so to lose weight, you need to be in a caloric deficit. So you need to be consuming less calories than you're expending. So that way your body has a chance to metabolize fat to use as fuel. Hence why you lose weight. Now, a deficit can be from 250 all the way up until, I would say, 500 at the most. I think the most I ever went to in my competition prep as well, not just casual diet, was about 500 calorie deficit and then some cardio on top of that. Now the thing with these diets are they go on extremely low calorie diets where you're consuming 500-600 calories a day for a normal person. For me, I'm 5'3" and weigh 65 kilos. That's low. For someone like yourself, that's normal size and an average weight. Yeah. You're on like 2,000 for a maintenance side, and you've comfortably sat around like 84 on 2,000. Now, if you're only consuming 500 calories a day, 600 calories a day on just juice alone, like most of these diets do with you, especially Herbalife.
Yeah,
they're the worst for it.
Lighter Life, without a shadow of doubt. We'll touch on them in a second.
Like, of course, you're going to lose weight because you're consuming. You are in a.
You're getting deficit. Lighter, but it's a lot of it.
Like you say, is it the right weight? Because a lot of weight that you are going to drop at the beginning, the initial stage of a weight loss journey, is going to be water weight, and that's it. Maybe for the first 2 or 3 weeks. The rest of after that, you really start digging into sort of your body starting to burn muscle and as well as fat to use as its fuel. But like, if you go on a severely low calorie diet, of course you're going to lose weight. But the main issue is the moment you go back to a normal diet, because it's not sustainable, it's almost a sense of, if you are doing this in the long haul, it's a change. It's a lifestyle change, it's a temporary solution for a long-term problem. So the moment you do come off this diet, and I fucking hate the word diet, so whenever I tell people that I'm dieting for a show, it's I always say I'm cutting or I'm leaning out for a show, is that inevitably you come off a diet. So the moment you come off it and reintroduce your body back to normal food, your metabolism is fucked because of how low your levels are, like your hormone levels. Your metabolism drops out as soon as you sort of start consuming less fat. So the moment you reintroduce them calories to your body doesn't know what to do with them, so it does inevitably store them as fat. So yo-yo diet.
Yeah.
And it's that exact issue. Then you start to gain weight and you're like, shit, I can't eat normal food. I have to be on an extremely low calorie diet to lose weight. And then you like we talked about last week, you yo-yo diet, and that's happened to me for months, but I didn't do it that severely. I just went from cutting to bulking because I didn't like how I looked.
Yeah.
Now I've just kind of just fucking for the next year, not giving a shit. I'm gonna have to embrace the fluff. But so not only is it gonna be very unsustainable and not manageable being on such a low calorie diet, but then you've got things like your leptin levels, which are they're a hormone that are controlled by primarily your fat. And when you diet, your leptin levels, they control weight loss. So as you get further and further into, and this is why refeed days are a big thing in diets and diet breaks, your leptin levels go down, so weight loss inevitably goes up. So it's almost like a cross axis. Weight loss goes up, leptin goes down. As soon as your leptin gets to a point, your weight loss will plateau. Right? So if you're on a severely low calorie diet, that line is depleting faster.
Yeah.
So you are inevitably going to hit a plateau. And this is why a lot of people hit plateaus extremely fast, because it will plateau and your leptin levels will be at a point where it's just not going to be able to function, do its purpose. Which is why when you add refeed days in and you increase carbs and glycogen back into your body, your leptin levels go back up and then you can start again. So if you ever hit a plateau, just a word of advice, if you ever hit a plateau, have a refeed day. There are ways you can calculate how many calories you do need in a refeed day. But a low calorie diet consistently will inevitably lead you to gain weight, because your body's going to be wanting its next meal but not knowing when it will. So it will store fat to use as fuel. If I give you 50 quid a week, and then all of a sudden gave you £10 a week, you're then going to save that £10, like, I'll put a £5 aside because I'm going to need it. Your body's the exact same way with fat. If it doesn't know when the next meal is coming, it will save it. So not only have you got leptin levels to worry about, you've also got fat gain and weight gain that can happen from being on a severely low calorie diet, and then just the quality of life. I mean, like, You told me about
you can't really be sociable when you're on that kind of shit.
I remember you telling me about going to Burger King and stuff like that, and sitting in there not eating. And then I think it was the other day you took your daughter out for KFC and you had one.
Yeah, man.
Like that quality of life just changes.
Probably first 3 to 5 months or so, whether it be Go, McDonald's, any kind of restaurant or fast food place, I'd sit there, obviously, because I was so hell-bent on shifting the weight and I didn't want to be how I was anymore. I mean, my family would sit there enjoying a meal, whatever, again, whether it be restaurant or Burger King, something like that, and I'd sit there and have nothing. It didn't bother me at the time. I wasn't envious of it, and I certainly didn't have any cravings. My determination fucking outweighed everything at that point. But it wasn't a quality of life. And it was nice to be able to take my daughter out the other day for something to eat and actually not just sit there and stare at her while she washed it, because my mentality is now different. I understand food a lot more now. I'm not saying like fucking KFC is good for you, but it's learning that you can work it into your day, and it is feasible to still go out with friends and have a meal. Obviously not doing it every fucking day, but I mean, you can go out and actually still retain some degree of friendship, retain some degree of a life with your family or your friends or whatever, and not have to worry about absolutely everything, because it'll be one of those where, I mean, I'd only have to look at what you'd class as a bad piece of food, and I mean, back when I first started, I'd feel guilty for it. Or I mean, if I'd have a packet of crisp, my immediate thought was shit. I mean, that I'm gonna get fat again because I've eaten something with fat in it.
So then you compensate the next few days.
Oh shit! Yeah, but it's like
you reduce your calories a lot lower.
Obviously, when I first started, I wasn't aware of macronutrients. Kind of calorie wise, in my head, it was 2,000 calories, because again, that's kind of like the publicised amount on everything.
I always argued against this, and people were like, no, it's true. So I always used the case of me and Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, exactly.
6 foot, weighing a lot. Me, 5'3". Do you reckon we both need 2,500 calories?
Not a chance.
We're both men.
Yep.
But we're both not average. He's extremely massive. I'm extremely small.
Yeah, man. But again, I didn't understand that. So for me, it was just like, in my head, again, it was, right, carbs and fatty food, get rid of as much as humanly possible. So it would be like, again, munching on salad during work if I was hungry. The amount of salad you have to fucking eat to be full is ridiculous. But it would just be a day of eating salad and salad for dinner. I'd get up and exercise bike. It'd be like, started off as 5 kilometres in the morning, 5 kilometres in the evening. And then it was like 10 in the morning and 15. I was doing like 25 to 30 kilometres a day riding a bike. And it'd be one of those where if what I thought back then was slipping up, if I'd slipped up and had like a packet of crisps or something, or some popcorn with my daughter, I would be like I'd throw another couple of kilometres on in the evening, and it got to an unhealthy cycle where I was getting up and I wasn't wanting to do exercise. It wasn't like I was going to the gym or shit like that, but I felt I had to, and my day wouldn't start right unless I knew, well done, that I knew that I'd done it.
Don't know what that was.
As I prepped myself for the day, if you will. And if I'd woke up just like half an hour late and I couldn't get it in the morning, I'd spend the rest of the day watching what I was eating to kind of make up for it, even though what I was eating wasn't sufficient anyway.
Yeah. And that's back to the whole yo-yo diet.
Yeah,
like, if you slip up, people often think if you slip up in a diet, the best thing to do the next day is reduce your calories even lower. My experience and my advice is, if you have a slip up, like I told you for ages and ages, if you slip up, the next day, it's happened.
Suck it up, deal with it.
Just back to your normal calories, whatever you're doing. If you're on a deficit, back to your deficit calories. If you're maintaining, back to your maintenance calories, and just carry on. It's happened. If you start to go into that, reducing because of to compensate, you end up yo-yo dieting, and you end up creating more problems than you're actually solving. So,
but even 3 years into it now with me, that mentality still kind of hard drumming it in. So obviously my lowest weigh, and I've had 83.9.
Just gotta learn to not give a fuck.
But it's like 83.9 is my lowest weigh in. I mean, and it's like, again with me, it was my anniversary, so I went out for a meal. And I had a day. It wasn't like a fuck it binge day, but it was a kind
We've
of
known each other for a year. It was that anniversary.
Fuck off. But it was one of them days I thought, you know what, I'm not going to give a shit, I'm just going to go for it. It's about 3 years, 2 years? 2 years now?
What?
That we've known each other.
I don't know.
Fuck, I ain't counting. Counting days till you're gone. But yeah, and it was one of them days, and my weight spiked because I went away from what I'd normally eat. My weight spiked by about, 1.5 kilo, 2 kilo. Yeah. And my first thought the next day was, cardio, reduce calories. And I'm like, well, fuck it, I can't reduce calories really anymore. Was already ploughing in 5 to 6 cardio sessions a week. And you're like, when is enough?
Yeah. I also think that's another thing that you touched on as well, like a spike in weight.
Yep.
If people do have a meal and they see, like, you're 1.5 kilos, like, even if you're a kilo, so you're 64 kilos one day, you go out, you wake up the next morning, you're 65 kilos. Initially and instantly, people are like, I've gained
weight on.
I've gained 1 kilo in one night. I'm like, fucking, if your body is able to digest and absorb and process and store that much food, that much volume in one night, fuck me, your metabolism must be going. Won't be worrying about weight loss.
I remember waking up after. I mean, it sounds stupid, but it was the first jacket potato I'd had in ages, and it was a decent sized jacket potato. I had like tuna, mayo, some cheese on it. I had that. Then I had pudding. Pudding again was like Breyers ice cream, so it was ready. It was a good ice cream, if you will. Yeah, man, it was good ice cream. And I remember waking up the next day, and I hadn't. It wasn't as though I'd binged. I'd eaten my macros all day. Everything was in macros, and I was still dealing with the mentality of. I thought everything was linear. I thought it was a case of you would lose weight, stick to your macros, and every single day will be a decrease. I remember waking up the next day and I was 1 kilo heavier, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, man.
And my first thought was, shit, cardio after work, reduce calories down today. And it was just like,
yeah,
it's only after being moaned at you every day for about 6 months. It was like, okay, well, no, that's normal. It's fine. It's just I ate late. I weighed myself early, and it was just kind of like and eating later and weighing early, of course, it's going to create at some point a crossover where you're inevitably going to be heavier.
Like, your body, it's impossible for your body to store that much fat or that much weight in one go. You wake up, if you're 1 kilo heavier, you have not gained you've not gained 1 kilo in weight. Maybe, if you overate on calories, you've gained a little bit of fat, but the rest of it's like water.
Like I said to you, it's like
filling volume. If you have a lot of fucking food, like when towards the end of my diet, I was volumizing my food. Like, so as soon as it hit like maybe 6 weeks out from a show, it was then volumizing. Yeah. Cut the shit, cut the ice creams, screw 450 calories on a tub of ice cream. It was
get
then
as much food
like
as possible
150 calories on a massive bowl of fucking salad. And the increase in volume of food, food has a weight. You eat it, you will inevitably weigh the same.
Get heavier.
Yeah. So if you've gone from consuming like 1 kilo worth of food a day on 1,500 calories, and then you consume 1.5 kilos of food on still 1,500 calories, you're gonna weigh more.
Yeah.
So the things that can and weight fluctuations happen all the time. Weight loss isn't linear. You'll have your days where you will be consistently lower and lower and lower. Maybe you'll have 4 days in a row and then a spike.
Just because you weigh more doesn't mean you've gained weight, if that makes sense.
And this is I'm going to touch on this in an actual YouTube video and in my
ebook. As I said to you before, it's the equivalent of filling your car up with petrol, whether it's an empty tank or whether you fill it up to the fucking brim. It may be heavier, but it's not got bigger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a slight weight difference because you're storing more in you.
Yeah, and this is something that I want to touch on later on down the line, and that's like daily weigh-ins. Whenever I diet, I always weigh myself daily because I always weigh myself daily and then work out the average. Weighing yourself daily is a good and bad thing. Good because you can work out the average at the end of the week, compare averages week to week to get an accurate representation of what your average weight is and whether you need to make adjustments. The downfall is people often go by day, which is what you fucking religiously did.
Yeah.
It was constantly, I weigh more today, need to do more cardio, or I weigh...
It fucks up your mindset.
Massively. The amount of people that weigh themselves in the morning, if they weigh more, it's a bad mentality.
It's a shit way to start the day.
If you're going to do daily weigh-ins, you need to accept the fact that weight is going to fluctuate. And things that cause weight fluctuations aren't just gaining fat. You've got meal timings. Like you said, if you have your last meal at 8 o'clock usually...
Well, where we train in the morning, just changing up, making sure I was doing a heavier carb meal in the evening, ready for the morning.
Yeah.
So shit, I couldn't believe the fact of how much my weight fluctuated just by eating more carbs in the evening. Whereas before, I'd been eating as much as I can carb-wise during the day from my macros and then more saving up my fats and protein for the evening. Changing that over, fucking hell.
Yeah, it spikes your weight up.
Yeah, damn right.
But it is like going from eating your last meal at 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Well, your food's got 2 hours less to digest, so you're going to weigh more. You've then got water. Did you drink 2 litres of water today, or did you drink 4? Did you drink less today? Or
another thing we touched on the other day when it was the fact of I'd had my last meal at like 8 o'clock and I'd gone upstairs and I'd weighed myself, not I was just intrigued to see what I'd weighed, and then I went downstairs in the space of an hour and a half. I drank like 2.5 litres of water. Next morning, I was like 1.5 kilos heavier than when I weighed myself after food. And you're like, well, fucking hang on a second. Yeah. You shouldn't weigh more, if you will, but no, you store water. So.
Yeah, so like water intake, meal timings, just your body itself. Your body is hormonal. It'll fucking have its changes whenever it wants. You've then got stuff like your sodium intake. Sodium, something that a lot of people touch on. Sodium, salt, and sugars and shit like that will make you gain weight. It's not important unless you're doing competitions. But sodium intake will affect weight fluctuation, but you're not your overall fat gain, because salt retains water. So if you have a lot of water and a lot of salt in one day and not a lot the other day, you're going to inevitably weigh heavier and then less, or less than heavier. But just off that activity level for the day, like where you work is a physical job. If you eat the same calories on a day of working as you do on a rest day, the next day after your rest day, you're going to weigh more because the expended calories that you've got from working, doing a physical job, will change.
Yep.
So all of these things can affect your weight fluctuations that aren't to do with you gaining weight. So that's one
just
thing
heavier. Just distinguishing mentally between gaining weight and weighing more.
Yeah, gaining fat and weighing more. Like, you can weigh more, but it does not mean you've gained fat.
One of my friends who used to work for
muscle
Herbalife
growth as well. That growing muscle will make you gain more.
I say my mate used to work for Herbalife. As much as I hate Herbalife, that was one of, apart from seeing the pictures, one of my biggest incentives to lose the weight. I'm going to use the expression naturally rather than fad dieting. Was I remember him turning around and saying the first thing he asked his clients is, "What do you want to do? Do you want to weigh less or lose weight?"
It's just...
And it was just like, and he was like, yeah, because anyone can go on like lighter life diets where you on all these juices where you're just basically drinking it and then just emptying your body, should we say? And then the moment you go back on normal food, you spike again, or you do it the proper way and you actually lose weight properly, not just have low weigh-ins.
Yeah. In a sense, it's almost like rather than losing weight properly, it's just changing your lifestyle.
Yeah, like I did. So
like
when people say to me about, I've managed to keep the weight off, I find it fucking insulting when I get traders who haven't seen me in six to 8 months, and they go, "Oh, your diet's still going well." And you're like, "Well, I'm not on a fucking diet. I changed my lifestyle.
I'm on a lifestyle.
Mate, I changed my lifestyle 3 years ago. Fucking, I was lazy enough that the equivalent of less than a mile away from where I worked, and I would drive it. Less than half a mile away from Asda, and I would drive it to go shopping. I'd changed my lifestyle. I'm not on a diet. I'm careful with what I eat because I understand what I eat more than what I was 2-3 years ago when I naively couldn't decide between a barbecue rack of ribs or a Chinese rack of ribs, so I fucking had both and a portion of chips to go with it. I considered that normal or acceptable. Whereas in now, it's the horrible curse of knowing what you eat and food becoming numbers. You kind of realise just how long you were wrong with what you were doing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like you say, it's understanding more.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about this the other day, didn't we? About like how being as into like knowing your macros and understanding food is a blessing because you get to not only have the food you like and still lose weight, but it's also a curse because then food does become numbers. And for people like you and people out there that are just going on the average diet to shift some weight, I would see food, as numbers, because inevitably you do have to stick within a certain number to lose weight. But unless you're doing a competition where you need to be shredded, you can see food as food. Like it's not too bad, but it is that sense of once you know, you know.
Yeah, it's no different to dishing up pizza and chips for your kids.
And all you're counting is, well, that's got this much fat.
Oh,
and it's an unhealthy mentality because at the end of the day, you shouldn't be thinking like that. Like it's like if it's a lifestyle change, we both need to get out of the mindset of thinking that like I could, like sometimes it's good saying, oh, I can spend this many calories on something else, but at the end of the day, it's like, well, that's fine, but would you?
Why should you have
something nice? Stop thinking of it like, I can use these calories here and there.
Prime example was obviously when I sent you that link, Ben and Jerry's birthday cake ice cream. You was like, well, why don't we split a fucking tub? And I was like, nah, I'd rather spend the calories elsewhere. I'd rather get volumise it.
So it becomes a curse, but the benefits of knowing far outweigh the benefits of not knowing.
Would I go back to not understanding? Not a fucking chance.
Like I would take I need to work on my mentality when it comes to, well, not so much me, but you need to work on your mentality when it comes to counting, seeing everything as numbers, because unlike me, where I was doing a show and I needed to see everything as numbers, because at the end of the day, it was, I need to hit this certain goal. For the majority of people out there, 90% of people out there, it's just food. You need to fit it around, enjoy it. If you want a Ben and Jerry's, have a Ben and Jerry's. Don't go out thinking, well, I can have something else, because then you're inevitably sacrificing what you like just for the sake of numbers, and that's where the curse comes in. That's where the bad thing comes in. But like, one thing I want to touch on is when you first started again, a few years ago, how misled were you by food company advertisements and low fat?
Oh, yeah, but again, it's food advertisements are atrocious at the best of the time. When you think how many things out there that are advertised as healthy, whether it be, I said you went with like fruit juice and shit like that. To me, oranges were good, so surely drinking stuff like Tropicana was good. And it's only when you start understanding what you're drinking, you realise just how full of shit it is. And again, food-wise, how many stuff is advertised as healthy alternatives for like breakfast and shit? Belvitas, you look at them and they're fucking packed full of crap. Yeah, but again,
they're not packed full of crap.
Yeah, they're
higher healthier than most.
Oh,
but
God,
they are just very calorically dense for not a lot of food.
But again, going in as a noob, not understanding even expression calorically dense, it's one of those where a pack of Belvitas does not fill you up. So a lot of people will be like, a couple of packs of this, and you're like, well, at that point, you can end up intaking more calories than you would have if you just had your normal larger bowl of cereal, if you will.
You think about it like this,
and then you're hungry quicker as well.
Yeah, like the average person, like a new person to weight loss or nutrition will go into Tesco's, see the pot chips.
Yep.
Okay, so even though they are quite good on macros, they're not, like, when we use the term as well, calorically dense, it means a high amount of calories for not a lot of food. Whereas when you volumise food, it's a lot of food for not a lot of calories, just for a point of reference. Yeah. So if, my experience, people are new to doing this, they go in, he said, pack two biscuits of Belvita are like 79 calories each or something. That's 140 calories, mainly carbs and fats, just from these two biscuits. They then may pick up a low-fat yogurt that, again, is high in carbs, good amount of protein. Then they'll go on to their fruits and vegetables. Fruits, although they are good for you, high in carbs, low in protein, low in fats.
I learned that hard way with apples. I never even realised how the amount of carb in like a normal 100-gram banana is like 26 grams of carbs, like 2 slices of bread almost.
Yeah. So what you end up finding is a lot of people, when they go to these newer, because of how food's advertised, like it's a breakfast bar, it's good for you. Mm-hmm. You end up, like, especially when it comes to having a healthy diet, you need a healthy amount of protein, carbs, and fats, which are your macronutrients. What I just listed is all high in carbs. You've got no proteins other than a yogurt, and you've got one of your 5 a day, which is high in carbs. You've got your breakfast biscuits high in carbs and fats. They may then go on to eating, what else do they eat? I don't know. My diet's relatively okay at the moment.
See, really, well, most people, you think when they go over to a diet as such, it's usually, like, whether it be pre-prepared Slimming Well style dinners in the evening, which again are portioned out very
high
small,
in carbs and fats.
Yeah, but you think it's you can end up by going on a diet, if you will. You can end up by advertisement ways going on quite a high carb diet and quite a low protein diet,
and not realising. And protein is very important.
Not even realising what you're doing. And again, a lot of it when it comes to, like, is it like Weight Watchers and Slim Fast and all that, it's all, anything that's got a pre-prepared meal is so low in calories, if you will, for the meal, but the meal and portion size is fucking tiny, so no wonder it's low.
Yeah.
Like you said about pop chips, the reason why they're so low in carbs and low in fat is because it's half the weight of what a normal packet is. So inevitably,
they are fucking good though.
Yeah, good. You are going to be hungrier later, and it's deceiving.
Yeah, it's just advertisement. Like, you can end up just screwing your macros over and having like 1,500 calories, 82,000 of just pure carbs, a little bit of fats, and then what you find is a very low protein diet, which in the back of that fucking sandwich you just read was the exact same thing. For an average adult, it was like 260 carbs, 70 fat, and
50 grams of protein a day for 2,000 calories.
If you don't understand macros themselves, just understand that a diet like that, a high carb, high fat, and a low protein diet, is somewhat unbeneficial even for the average person. Even at the lowest of like 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, it's still low.
When you
Lower
compare
than that.
when you compare that to mine, that's literally 1/3 of my protein I'm having a day.
Like I said, that's 2 protein. That's a protein shake and maybe 100 grams of chicken breast, and that's your protein done for the day.
Shit.
Your body, protein goes from anywhere from aiding your immune system. It goes for like bone, teeth, hair, nails, everything. Then you've got protein synthesis. So if you do work out, it's muscle repair. Even if you don't work out and you're in a strenuous job, so if you didn't work out but you did your job, you're still tearing down muscle fibers that will need protein and ability to repair them. You can't do that if you're on a very low protein diet.
Exactly.
And although there are low protein diets that you can go on, they still take into consideration the bare minimum of what you need and make sure you hit it. So even though it's a low protein diet, it's still a healthy diet. Whereas these are low protein diets that are unhealthy and unbeneficial to you. And this is just advertisement in general. Low fat crisps. Well, it may be low fat, but it's still fucking got packed full of carbs.
Oh shit! The biggest misconception I think I've ever seen is I was watching something on was it Jamie's Food Factory or something like that, and it was
Jamie Oliver.
It's not Jamie Oliver. It's different Jamie.
Oh,
but it was
there's more than one.
Yeah, there's more than one. It was getting Jamie Oliver fucking got rid of turkey twizzlers.
Prick.
But yeah, it's going into like these meals that are advertised as like 33% less fat or 33%, and it's like people will automatically pick them up and they'll not necessarily, it's like the expression, if it's half the fat you can eat twice as much.
Oh.
But they will physically increase a portion size because what they're buying is 33% less fat. But from a food advertisement agency, all it's got to be is 33% less fat or sugar or whatever than the leading alternative.
Yeah.
But if the leading alternative is fucking 400% more than what it should be anyway, what you've got is, okay, a slightly healthier variant, but it's still nowhere near where it's still nowhere near where it should be. So from a new perspective, it's all right walking into like picking up Slimming World stuff or 33% less fat and that. But if you don't understand that it's 33% less fat than the fattest one out there,
it's still bad.
Yeah, you still need to look at the macros on it and say, okay, but it's still fucking atrocious. And it was something I fell into when I kind of realised that what I was eating wasn't sustainable, that I wasn't getting. I don't remember a time in about 6 or 7 months I actually felt full. It was just sheer willpower that stopped me from eating
more.
There was no satisfying or satisfaction from eating. It was purely I was eating what I thought I needed to. So when I went back over to I did hit on some like ready meals and shit because they were low fat alternatives. I was naive and didn't think, well, okay, is it a low fat alternative or is it just it's lower fat than the rival? And I watched that program and it made me look into it. And I remember like some of the lasagnas, I could physically make something that was like 4 times the fucking size and would have the same macronutrients like for the fat
same
and
calorie
protein.
Breakdown.
Well, yeah, it was more obviously like for a lasagna it would be more carb because of the pasta. Obviously you've got exponentially.
For the basics, it would be the same 4 times the amount of food for the same calories.
And basically it was crazy to see that what I thought was a low calorie alternative wasn't a low calorie. It's still high. It was higher calories than anything you would normally eat, but it was able to be advertised as low calorie because its rival was even fucking more atrocious.
It's the same thing as that Monsters, for example. Where the fuck is my Monster gone? I can't find my Monster.
There you go.
There it is.
It's a can for you.
So I want to drink mine anyway. So like Monster, for example, is 0 calorie, but the Monster itself contains, for the whole entire 500ml bottle, contains 16 calories. Now anything under 21 calories can be classed as 0 calorie. It's either 21 or 15. I think
we looked into it before and it was 15 because it was on the
I'm
purple
one. I'm confused of why this says like 16 calories. But, oh well. But either way, like something can still contain calories and be classed as 0 calorie, just because of the law, the advertisement, the standard for what it is. I mean, I would never track these unless I was like 2 weeks out from a show, but I would never track these. But in the sense of something could be 33% less fat, but they are going to pack it in carbs to get that taste so it doesn't taste like crap. And then
it's like we said before, the old 0 calorie spray. Remember the video is like 0 calorie, 0 calorie?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. How
0
many...
0 calorie for a quarter spray, so he just does quarter sprays.
Exactly. How many 0 calorie sprays? If they're 0 calorie, but they've all got 16 calories in, how many of them a day someone could drink puts you into a trackable amount? I mean, if you would have like 5 or 6 of those,
Yeah.
It's just a big one. They're
But
still
if you have
over
5
60,
or 6 of these, you're either
60
rich
grams a
enough
cup.
to afford a fucking PT,
Yeah.
or you are awake 24/7, so you'll fucking burn it off.
But still, for someone who tracks it, it becomes a trackable amount almost when you think.
Yeah.
But when it's 0 calories, but it's not 0 calorie.
No, but either way, I wouldn't track it. But yeah, so if they do end up having like 33% less lasagna, they'll pack it full of carbs to make it taste nice. And then if you do end up having like a serving and a half because it's 33% less fat, you inevitably end up eating more carbs.
Yep.
Because you're assuming because it's got less fat, it'll be bad for you. It'll be better for you.
Yep.
But you're still gaining weight because overall calorie consumption is higher. And this is something that I want to touch on as well. So what you pointed out is that everyone believes the macronutrient itself, fat, is what will make you fat.
I remember trying to strip every bit of sugar and fat out of my diet I could. I wasn't aware as a noob that obviously, the benefits of actually having fat and the fact that you actually need it.
Balances your hormones. And then nice foods, such as like red meats. Found something out about red meats the other night. If you have red meats too often, it can actually be bad for your digestive system. Now, I haven't researched it, but a very credible YouTuber that has researched a lot of other articles, and he's credibility behind him is very high. He's very credible. Just brought it up, and I was like, shit, I never knew that. Never knew it.
I don't eat a lot of red meat.
I eat every now and then. Ever since I switched over to turkey bacon, I've started having a lot more. I think I'm too low. Where was I going with this? What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so fat stuff, controlling hormone levels, and then your nice foods, so like your red meats, your bacons, eggs, stuff like that. So if you restrict it, fat alone, the macronutrient does not make you fat. Like, I don't understand. I understand why people believe it. Cause
it's the word. It's the wording.
Yeah,
it's the wording. You're trying to lose fat, so why would you want to take fat in? It's that absolute naive mentality. But again, it's naive too strong of a word. Again, I wasn't aware.
Misguided.
Yeah, misguided.
Unaware.
I was blissfully unaware that you needed fat. Like I said, I stripped my diet back completely, just literally fish, veg, and fruit, really. And the amount of shit I missed out on Easter, birthdays and that, when you could have fitted a slice of cake in or whatever, easily fitted a big slice of fucking cake in, I would say no. And I look back now and I was a miserable fuck for about 6 or 7 months. How my wife put it up with me is unbelievable. But I was a miserable fuck because of it.
But that's the benefits of flexible dieting. It's having the foods you like. So,
the first picture you sent me, when it was a donut with ice cream on it, saying this is what my diet, this is how I roll with my diet, and I was like, shut up.
Like, genuinely, I think during my competition, how many ice tubs of Breyers did I have?
One of them will Halo Top pretty much every single day at one point for about a week and a half.
Like, it was brilliant. You can have these nice foods. I'm gonna sneeze eventually. For those of you who don't know what flexible dieting is, it's essentially even if you're not tracking calories, it's 80% of what you eat per day is healthy, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and then 20% is absolute shit. But that's like an 80-20 split of your overall macros, not just what you're eating throughout the whole entire day. So you can't have a shit ton of healthy food and then a crap ton of
I'm going to eat salad all day
food.
and then have a pizza from Pizza Hut all to myself.
Yeah, well, essentially you could do that. I mean, it's not an 80-20 split, but you'll stay within macros. That is if it fits your macros.
I was about to say, would you fit a whole Pizza Hut pizza in?
It depends. I wouldn't. My calories are really low. You may be able to, or The Rock may be able to.
I need to research this.
But yeah, so it says that. But it is the sense of if you aren't tracking your calories, it will be making sure your day consists of high protein, low carb, low fat meals. Then during the night you can go out for a few drinks, or you can go out for a meal, you can have a pizza, you can have some ice cream, whether you may go over your calories slightly, but if you're just after a maintainable healthy physique like you'd be at the moment, you can afford that. It's nice and easy. You back to your maintenance calories, you'll soon then drop the weight off. But it's just this misconception that people need to drop fat, people need to drop carbs. Carbs are bad for you. Carbs after 6 p.m. somehow get magically stored as fat because your body knows exactly when 6 p.m. hits. As soon as that clock strikes fucking... Even then, how do we know our perception of time is correct? 6 p.m. may not be 6 p.m.
I remember when I first started into this, I remember someone telling me that not to consume more than 35 to 40 grams of protein within a 2-hour period because your body can't deal with it. And you're like, how does my body know how long 2 hours is?
See, exactly. But I haven't researched that. No, I have. I haven't personally researched it, but again, I've watched credible YouTubers and I've clicked on a few articles and read about it. But like, there was that. What was it? Your friend got told by a personal trainer not to eat fucking bread. Bread will store fat. It will absorb.
No. It was the carbs from bread will make him gain weight, and he's adamant that since he stopped eating bread, he's lost X amount of weight, and it's all down to his personal trainer telling him bread carbs from bread is bad, and you're like, carbs are carbs.
I'm just gonna say, if your diet consists of a lot of like, say if your diet is like 80% bread, 80% of your carb sources comes from bread, and then you hear bread's bad for you, so you drop out and then you lose weight. We've just dropped out 80% of your overall calorie intake from carbs. Of course you're going to lose weight. Mate, you're in a caloric deficit.
Me personally, a good probably 50 to 60% of my carb intake for a day is bread.
So if you cut that out...
bread. I prefer bread over anything else.
If you cut that out, you would lose weight because you're cutting out essentially 300 to 400 calories.
So
you would lose weight because you're in a deficit. But like bread itself, that's... As soon as you told me about that, it was...
I don't want to think about life without bread.
A personal trainer... told someone
can't eat bread.
And the thing is, I had this conversation with my friend as well. Like, when it comes to anything, you need to do your research. You can't listen, like, I've mentioned a lot that I've just mentioned stuff from YouTubers that I've watched, but these are credible names. These are people that have researched and done studies and been, like, participated in studies.
And link in their bios to it.
Into it. And like you follow them back, and everything they have said is true. Everything they have done and implemented into their own lives, which they've taken these studies, they've used this information, they've implemented it into their life, and they've still gained the results. They've shown that it does work, and their name is credible. You see that one of the biggest names in terms of like fitness studies, Lord McDonald. Like, you can be sure anything he produces is 90% true.
He's done his checks.
Like, he's done years and years of case studies, performance studies, being part of studies, doing his research. It comes to a point where credibility is all you really need. And I had this conversation with my friend that if you're gonna say something,
do your fucking research first.
Like, he wasn't trying to say it was true.
Yeah.
But I said to him, like, if I was ever going to believe anything, I would want more than one case study. The case study can't be an article, because I can write an article. Again, I can also do, like, I can write an article and put a case study online. It could all be bullshit. But then you could track my name back to other studies that I've done. So, for example, Lord McDonald could come out with this really fucking weird and bullshit article and case study, but then going back through everything he's done, that's true, this is true, that's been proven, this has been proven. If everything he's done has been proven, credibility and track record, this is going to be true. But then you've got people like that just read one article or get one case study. One case study isn't enough. There's been one case study that proves a correlation between creatine and hair loss. The more creatine you take for the longer period, you will lose hair. That's one case study. Are you really going to believe that on one case study? No, you would at least want 3 or 4 case studies, or maybe even 5, going in the same direction, not necessarily saying the exact same thing, but going in the same direction.
Has something plausible between the two, or
yeah,
at least...
there needs to be a correlation between every single one. And just going off reading a fucking article on a random website, go in, if you ever do this, just... Who wrote the article? Who's the author? Follow them through. Go back to some of their old work. What other articles they've done? If everything they've done so far has been proven wrong, like say for example, someone done a case study on eating 2,000 calories, regardless of how much you weigh and how much you need, like makes you gain weight, and it's been proven that it doesn't through caloric intake. This isn't going to be true. Chances are this will not be true. But then when you've got people like Lex Griffiths, Lard McDonald, Jeff Nippard, my old coach for Igor, I can't pronounce his last name. These people have done years and years of research. Everything they've said is true. Everything they've done is researched and backed up. I'll listen to it. I'll be a bit critical because it may not be the same for everyone, but I would never, like for the majority of people out there, don't read an article and just think it's new. Just think it's true.
The basis of what they're saying is going to be true. Again, like you say, if you don't believe everything they say, I mean, as such, or can't implement, at least you know the basis of what they're saying isn't just some fucking website bullshit just to get views and likes.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, it's that whole. You can go on Google, type in does blah 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 affect blah blah blah. This article could say it could. You could have one case study saying it could. Right, you've got an article and a case study. If I went into a courtroom and went, right, I've got like two pieces of evidence that are very unplausible to say he's guilty, would you believe me?
No.
Fuck no. You need a lot of evidence. You need a circumstance. You need witnesses, everything like that. So you need your stuff. That's completely off topic, but if you guys are new and you're researching this stuff, just that's what I would say bear out for.
Don't believe everything you read, and do your own research into it as well.
Unless it's on cmooneyfitness.com. It's my website. Ugh.
Shameless plug.
What else have we covered? So that's pretty much everything we've covered. Yeah. So it's pretty much we've covered everything.
Happy days.
Not bad. That was a quick one. That went pretty fast. But that's essentially what we've come across. That's some just nutrition misconceptions. I wouldn't say myths or like do's and don'ts. It's just we all misunderstand stuff. If you're relatively new or you are new to this, you need to look out for these things. Just understand that carbs aren't bad for you, fats aren't bad for you, protein isn't bad for you, but they all can be bad for you in an excess consumption of them. If you're going to do your research, make sure you do your fucking research and you don't just type in one article and read it.
And definitely just don't go by what your mates have said. Or when you've spoken to somebody else who's lost weight and because they've starved themselves for 12 hours a day.
Yeah, also take a look at who's telling you this information. If someone's trying to comment on you should be doing this to your diet, well, look at them. Are they overweight? Have they lost weight? Have they gained their muscle? Have they hit PRs? Have they broken plateaus? If they haven't done anything that they're trying to tell you to do, like, I would not... It's like the whole thing of, like, does a personal trainer need to be in shape to tell you what to do? Me, personally, if I went into a gym, I can understand why people wouldn't go for an in-shape personal trainer because it's intimidating. But if I had an overweight personal trainer and someone who was in shape telling me how to lose weight... Who are you going to believe? Just take a look at them.
Their body will be their advertisement.
Yeah, but just not them. Their character, their name, their body, their everything. Are they themselves? Do they give you the illusion, or do they give you the impression?
Are they living the life that they want to teach you?
Not only that, but are they applying it? By all means.
Look how many PTs we've seen, and obviously no gyms will be mentioned, but how many PTs we've seen where they are
out of shape.
They're clearly out of shape. They clearly like a beer. You can tell by the whole demeanour that what they're physically teaching is knowledge that they've gained, but not knowledge that's applied.
Yeah, like, again, we're not saying you can't be a chunkier personal trainer to be a personal trainer, but when it comes to taking information, at the end of the day, personal training is self-employment. You are your own you are your own billboard. You are your own advertisement. Me, as a personal trainer, I completely agree that it is down to how you look. You can have a lot of information, but if you've not applied that, or you can't apply that, or you can't stick to it, and you're trying to give advice to other people, or other people are trying to do this to you, that should be an indication to do your research or question them about it. Where did you find this information out? How has it worked for you? What experience have you got with it?
So we were saying a minute ago, it's one of them where it will appeal to both sides of people, but obviously you're going to get the people who want to go hire a PT. You're paying good money for it. Me personally, if I was going into a gym scenario and I was actually going to get a PT, I said to you before, the guy I saw walking down Southsea, he was built like a fucking tank. He was pure muscle, white t-shirt, and he just had his little personal trainer logo.
I think that was me.
No, it wasn't. Trust me, he was tall. You're fucking not. But yeah, and he was like he was his own advertisement. I was like, my first thought was, shit, if he can get himself in there, I would, me personally, put my trust and faith into him. Whereas in some of the other PTs we see who aren't, I'd be like, well, if you, and it's a blunt way of putting it, but if you can't keep yourself in shape, how are you going to motivate me to be in shape?
Exactly.
Which obviously but you'd like to say, you then fall back into, okay, coming in as a PT who's fucking ripped to shit, and you know what I mean? It's one of them where it can be intimidating, whereas it's a lot easier to gel with, to have a rapport with a slightly more out of shape PT. But I think if you're coming into the situation where you're looking to potentially hire one, you are paying good money, you need to get the best for your money. And obviously, I'm not saying that the out of shape PT wouldn't be as good and knowledgeable, But when it comes down to it, you've got to ask yourself, if you know all this, it's like having the winning lottery ticket number and not using it. If you've got all this information, you know what to do to whether we slim down or gain muscle, bulk, or whatever. Why, as a PT, aren't you doing it? Why are you not aspiring? If you're trying to teach people to be the best they can be, why aren't you the best you can be?
Yeah, and that's why that's mainly what I say. Don't go with a PT that looks like he's out of shape or they're out of shape, because they it's like, again, that motivation. They can't motivate themselves or whatnot to do it. So for me personally, I wouldn't.
I mean, if a builder turned up to you in a rusted up van and all he had was a trowel and a hammer and told you he's going to do you a full roofing, would you trust him, or would you trust someone turning up with all the right equipment and all the uniform and a nice shiny van who looks like he's actually doing well? You're not going to trust him, are you?
Exactly. But on that note, we're going to end this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Hope you learned something. This one fucking flew by. I actually really enjoyed doing this one.
I don't feel as awkward now either.
Personal experience, you had it. I know it. So I hope you can take all the advice we've given you in this podcast and apply it to your life. Like I always say, always aim to get something informative out for you guys. So if you're spending an hour or 45 minutes watching this, you can take something away and apply it to your life. So just be aware of everything we've covered in here. Again, if you do want to watch this on YouTube, go over to my YouTube channel, Monday, 6 p.m. Also have a new series that I've started on there, so be sure to check that out, and we will see you next Saturday for another CM Radio podcast. Take it easy.